Next up, we have pretty much an ape OG. Jay's back here, and he's going to talk about how NFTs in Asia and the role that China is going to have in the future of NFTs. Round of applause for Jay.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? If you can't hear me, let me know. So I can do a brief introduction of myself and what we do. So my company is called Oaksmith. We do a lot of Web 2 and Web 3 corporate strategy and bridging cultures and companies from the East and West. For example, we help a lot of VC funds to get into Western projects. You know, we help Sandbox with some of their partnerships in Asia, and we also help funds of funds and family office to explore Web3 and navigate this new, hyper-growth market that everyone wants to get in. Aside from that, we also run a NFT hedge fund. It's one of our newer inventions in the last year. People may wonder, how do you run an NFT hedge fund, right? Is it just holding JPEGs forever? Is there any nuance and any strategies? The answer is, right now, it is still very difficult for us to put on the proper hedge that we want. But there are a lot of financial instruments, which I will talk about, that allow us to do some of the things that we want to do to kind of hedge against our risk, crypto risk, NFT-related risk, asset risk, and portfolio level risk. For example, by holding all the apes, of course we wanted to go to the moon, right? But what if it goes down? Good, now we have ape coins. So we can short ape coin as a hedge against our bags of apes, right? That's a good one. And then on top of that, the whole industry right now is in sort of a volatile period because the macro environment. What can we do? We can short Ethereum as a hedge of our NFT portfolios and rotate more into stable coins. In the future, what we will be able to do is we will be able to short collections and basket of blue chip collections, which some companies are already developing. Injective, I think, has done a Bored Ape index already. The liquidity is terrible, so nothing that we can use. But at least it's one step that somebody's putting forward to allow, some kind of financial instruments. Why this is all very important and how that ties into Asia is because a lot of family offices and funds and even individual sophisticated investors wants to get into the space. But they think it's just kids playing with pictures, right? And how do we add legitimacy? How do we bring institutions here? So you have to have institutional-minded professionals that can do the proper portfolio management and to show investors that we can protect your downside and have the liquidity to do some of the tasks needed for proper trading, and that's how our industry can prosper. So that's one of the things that we are trying to do, and of course, it's definitely not easy. So let me address the elephant in the room, right? I'm talking about China's role in NFT and Asia and all that. People will be wondering, what are you talking about China, right? I was talking with our friend Seb Borgett. He's the COO of Sandbox, you may know, that they're very big in all of the Asian market, but they leave out China because no one can get inside, right? But where there's internet, there is a community. Where there's community, there are collectors. From my experience, speaking with a lot of celebrities and funds in China and family offices, people are actually very, very interested about NFTs. They just don't have the access. And China is a huge untapped market. So how do we get into that? The answer is you can't right now, right? But it's the same thing when internet first happened. No one knows what's going to happen, and it was kind of a local net when it first started. Speaking with some of the regulators and people close in China to the source, we realized that similarly to Web 2, the government and institutions will feel a lot more comfortable when they see few things. Number one is foreign adoptions. If there are US regulation, Euro regulations in regards to NFTs and crypto, that will really ease their mind, right? Because something's under control, somebody's controlling it. And the second thing will be, do they have a replacement product they can use themselves, right? So now they're developing that. They have the Tencent net, the Ali net. You might not know what it is, but you know Alibaba and Tencent. So they develop local net where you can put the JPEGs on, and actually you need very special license to be able to market them and have trading and stuff. So it's only in the local network. It's not really NFTs because it's not really on chain. And if something broke, your JPEGs are gone. It's a game. But at least there's a first movement. And based on a chart that somebody sent me, one of the biggest investment bank done some research on NFTs in China. There's more than 100 platforms for trading marketplace already, right? They're very scattered and fragmented. No one can go from one platform to another. It may be hard for you to imagine, right? You buy something on X2Y2 and then you can't list on OpenSea. I mean, unless it's stolen. But this is a situation in China. So I think for people that's prepared, who wants to tap into this opportunity, they have to have the infrastructure and the right partnership and eyeing who's gonna be the biggest one. So when the border does open, which I hope and I do think will happen in the future, then they can come and establish proper relationship. The Sandbox, the Decentraland, the Yuga Lab, everybody want that piece of pie because we're all one family in Web3, right? And there's a lot of Chinese people and investors and enthusiasts are flying from China to come here and to vibe with us and to learn more. So that's why I'm still very bullish about this industry and the direction we're heading. So I want to also talk about some of the project and stuff happening in Asia that are brewing. In NFTs, let's go from top down. The first thing is definitely marketplace, right? One of the bigger marketplace, X2Y2, you may guess it's Chinese because some of the wording and grammar are shit, right? But it's Chinese backers. They are kind of disrupting this marketplace dynamic because they're used to the Tencent Ali model of giving back to the users. They charge 0% fees, right? If I sell a Bored Ape, I save 2-3 ETH. That's a good chunk of change before it dropped to $1,000, right? So that's a top-down level. And then you go down to the individual level. Okay, I can sell it and trade it, but I don't have liquidity. I just have these apes. What do I do, right? You may be familiar with a project called Ben DAO. Andy, it's a founder, and very legitimate team, and their contracts are very efficient. They did a public launch of their token. So that's one step again toward providing liquidity to blue chip holders. So now, okay, we have some liquidities, we can buy more JPEGs. How do I protect my downside, right? So again, this is what I talked about, the derivatives that needs to be there. There needs to be a lot of AI, machine learning protocols and tools that allows institutions and market makers to normalize different NFT assets based on their rarity, right? Based on their collections, based on liquidity within the market. So we're seeing multiple projects coming through and trying to accomplish that. And lastly, let's talk about what I think in the future is for NFTs in Asia, and hopefully in China. My company and I have been very willingly helping to promote kind of like a harmonious engagement between the East and the West. We introduce a lot of Web2 Hollywood investors that has deep Chinese connections to Sandbox and to other of our close partners. One of the upcoming film is called like Hunter. They own 100% of the rights. The stars you may know is Jay Chou from, I think from Hong Kong or Taiwan, and then Keanu Reeves and a bunch of big name, and the producer is produced Transformers. We're thinking about how we can have a Web3 version of a movie. Of course, this is gonna be a blockbuster movie, at least budget-wise. I don't know if it's a good movie. You can't finance everything with Web3 money, right? Because it costs hundreds of millions of dollars. But you can have a small percentage of the revenue or of the IP to be shared to the community members, to people that watch the movies, and maybe we together can decide what the actor wears, right? Does he, is he crippled on the left knee or right knee? Some cool stuff, or hairstyles. So we need more of those empowerments. And I think Web3 is a new venue for more people, and to media and entertainment, it's one of the first use cases, right? Because if we have that, and Sandbox did something with Hellboy again, maybe we can have a virtual preview of the movie pixelized, right? Maybe there's a mini game that people can play, and based on the game, who ends first, we have a community member that can come and be an actor as well in the movies. As long as the IP is with the producing company and the financing company, right? As long as we have more and more decentralized tools that can allow like fair distribution of the cash flow. Darren, a co-founder of FTX, is trying to do something like that and provide the infrastructure for it. So today, this stage is not very full, right? Maybe it's one of the side events or whatever. So I'm very thankful that you guys come for my little talk. But I hope in the future, the next few years, there's gonna be more and more people here. And there's actually more things to talk about than some of the boring stuff that people are just on here showing project, this or that. So that's all I want to say. We still have 2 minutes, so maybe we can take 1-2 questions in regards to NFTs in general, NFT in Asia, if there's any brave audience out there. Okay. Yeah, please.
So when do you think that China will take NFT as a mainstream? Like how many years do you think it's going to happen?
So that's gonna be a quick answer. If I know, bro, I wouldn't be here, right? No one knows what the regulators thinks, but I think I can give a more closer, accurate answer once US starts regulate crypto and regulate NFTs, and other countries follows, and there's guidelines, and then in the next few years, that might happen. Anybody else? Please.
Where can we connect with you?
Oh, so my Twitter is Mr. Fry, F-R-Y-R. Right? The funny story is, me and my boy, his handle is ASAP Tofu, I'm ASAP Fried Rice, right? Crypto is cool, NFT is cool, everybody's well off, but I want to keep real to my roots. So I want to talk about Asia and China. Maybe that's why they put me in this side event, and everybody else, my friends, are at the main thing, right? So NFT.NYC next year, you got to do it right, all right? Thank you guys.